In today's Whiteboard Leadership Moment, I want to talk about culture. I mentioned one other time about how important it is for leadership to establish the culture of their team. And what we did at my old church was we had 8 statements that described how leadership would treat each other and how we would handle the things that happened in the life of the church. One of the main issues in church is conflict. There are lots and lots of conflicts among staff and leaders, among ordinary people. And so we tried to come up with a statement that would take this tension of loving and leading. The fact is, in your church, you have people who are very good at loving. You have people who are very good at leading. You have people who are very good at loving. I call them grace givers. They are the people who are really, really high on love. They make you feel great about yourself. They make you feel great about lots of things. They're very encouraging. And then you have truth tellers. Truth tellers are very high on leading. They want to get the task done. They want to drive things forward. Here's the challenge. You can't just be a truth teller, and you can't just be a grace giver. In John chapter 1, it says Jesus was full of grace and truth. It's not an either or, it's a both and. It's not a problem to be solved, it's a tension to be managed. And so in our leadership and our team, we had lots of people who are grace givers, lots of people who are naturally truth tellers. And so we tried to tell them it's not an either or, it's a both and. And so what we said was this: love first, lead second, but always do both. When you love first, it creates the context for hard conversations. When you care about them, when you walk through life with them. That may look like something like this. So you're about to have a hard conversation with a staff member, and you just ask them, well, how's your day been? That's a love first question. Rather than being a truth teller and walking in and saying, listen, we've got a problem. That would be truth first. Love first is praying with them, asking how their family is, celebrating the things they've done right before you talk about the one thing that they've done wrong. So a lot of people are grace givers. Others are truth tellers. And so what happens with them is they walk into a room and they say the hard things, but there's no context for it. Again, love first, lead second, but always do both. And here's why: because people are going to see you in a certain way, depending on how you are as far as in leading and in loving. If you're high on leading and high on loving, that's a very good thing. But if you're not, there's some challenges you'll go through. First dimension is this: if you're both low on love and low on leading, the people around you will just view you as an acquaintance. An acquaintance is someone who they're just around. They're the noise around you. They don't listen to you. They aren't following you. You're a nice person. They may notice you, but you're not either or. Leadership can't be in this quadrant. They have to be somewhere else. Someone who's a strong grace giver, which means they're high in love but low in leading, they're going to view you as a friend. And it's great to have friends, but the fact is we're on a mission and we're trying to get things accomplished in that mission. And so we can't just stay over here. We want them to see us as more than a friend. The challenge of this person is they don't tell the truth. They don't have the hard conversation. Typically what happened in my organization is I'll tell people they need to have a hard conversation. I'll say, well, how did it go? And they say, oh, we had a great time, and they're such a great person. I feel so encouraged being around them. And I say, well, did you have the hard conversation? Well, we didn't quite get around to that. That's typical grace giver conversation, and say, no, good, you love first, but you didn't lead second. You always have to do both. And then if you're high on leading, but low on loving, then all they're going to see you as is a boss. You're a taskmaster. You're a slave driver. All you care about is the end game. They're going to feel burnt out, used by you, because you didn't love them. You didn't show concern for them. You didn't help them walk through their issue. And you didn't love them as Christ would love them in the middle of the conversation. You told the truth, but you didn't do it in the context of love. See, the best quadrant to be in is this one over here, where you're full of grace and truth, where you have the hard conversations, but you have in the context of trust and relationship. And this is where you prove yourself to be a true leader. My challenge to you is this. So why don't you take some time and look and see what quadrant am I in as a leader? Which one do I most do naturally, and what do I need to grow in? If you're a grace giver, then you have to learn to say hard things in loving ways. The easiest way for a grace giver to do that is to begin the conversation by saying something like this. Listen, I know you have a busy day. I'm about to say something hard to you. Do you have a moment we can talk about that? And then you go into how much you appreciate them, things like that, but you've already set it up where they're expecting a hard conversation. And so when you don't have it, they'll say, okay, I thought this was going to be hard. And they'll ask you, well, what was the hard piece of this conversation? And you'll have to tell them the truth. I already mentioned with the truth teller, just make sure that you care for them. Tell them you're praying for them. Ask them how they're doing. Find something they're doing right. Love on them a little bit, and then say, hey, I need to have a hard conversation with you. Use the same statement. Do the same thing. These will move you up into the leader category, and you'll be the leader that God wants you to be in your church. This has been a Converge Whiteboard Leadership Moment. To learn more about Converge or to join us, check out converge.org.